At 7 o'clock, we get our first ranked game. Let's get it, guys. I'm so hyped. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. 7 o'clock, we got Central Michigan, which went 9-4 last year, traveling to number 12, Oklahoma State, which went 12-2 last year. Oklahoma State favored 21 points on FS1. And I like to talk about Central Michigan. It was a good team last year. People forget about the Chippewas because Northern Illinois came in and it was the Cinderella story last year in the MAC. I'm going to say it. It was a team that no one thought was going to be very good. That was really horrible the year before. They come in, they don't start out great, but they end up winning the MAC, and it was just a great story for the Huskies. People forget about how the Chippewas were really good last year. They beat Washington State, a Power 5 team. Now, I understand Washington State not on the same level as Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State obviously was a team that was a yard away from a playoff spot last year. So this is a much different team that they're facing. But I think this is a possibility of being a really great football game. The Chippewas are not a bad football team by any stretch of the imagination. Daniel Richardson, their quarterback, went 191-316 last year, threw for 2,633 yards, and had a 24 touchdown to 6 interception ratio. Lewis Nichols, the third, the running back, had 341 carries for 1,848 yards and 16 touchdowns. And Dallas Dixon had 45 catches for 701 yards and 8 touchdowns. Oklahoma State, on the other hand, returns their starting quarterback, obviously. Spencer Sanders.
I hardly know her.
Had 391 last year, threw for 2,839 yards, 20 touchdowns, a 12 interception ratio, and a 62.1% completion percentage. Dominic Richardson had 79 carries for 373 yards last year and 5 touchdowns, and Brendan Presley had 50 catches for 619 yards and 5 touchdowns. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, have these teams ever played before? Weirdly enough, they've played twice, and they actually split this. They each won one of these games. The last game was in 2016, and weirdly enough, Central Michigan, the Chippewas, won that game. So this determines who's going to be leading the series. It's not a big deal of all things, but it's at least somewhat interesting to look at. I think Oklahoma State's a really good team, but I think people forgot how they started out last year. They started out very slow. They were lucky to win their games last year at the beginning of the year. They barely eked past Tulsa. Tulsa was a team that was not very good. They barely eked by Boise State. So early on, they were staying undefeated by the skin of their teeth. They were not. It was like Notre Dame at the beginning of the year. Everyone remembers Notre Dame at the end of the year. It was a really great football team. A lot of people forget that Notre Dame at the beginning of the year almost lost to Toledo and Florida State, which were both not great football teams last year. So let's get that straight. I think this has the possibility of being a really phenomenal game. I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win it, but I think the Chippewas keep it closer than that 21-point spread indicates.